took it all in, being that this is my last one.
It's called the greatest show in college football. Nittany Lions fans are treated to a whiteout blowout. The tight end production against Minnesota gives Ohio State something else to think about.
I am certainly looking forward to getting to Happy Valley. It's been a long time since I've been to Happy Valley.
It's a big noon kickoff for Gus Johnson and crew. We have everything you need to know before the blue and white host the big bad Buckeyes. This is Nittany Game Week. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Nittany Game Week. I'm Todd Sadowski, along with our coaches, Jay Paterno and Tom Bradley. Over 109,000 for the whiteout in Beaver Stadium. And, guys, they take care of business against the Golden Gophers. That might be the best part.
Well, that's the only part. I mean, yeah, everybody has fun, but, the whiteout isn't as much fun if you don't come out with a win, and they did a great job.
No doubt about it. That whiteout, there's been times you cannot even hear the other coaches on your headsets talking to you. And that's how loud it gets. It's a great atmosphere.
Yeah, and they did their part for sure. Before we get to our opening drive, some appreciation for the greatest show in college football. Hard to argue when everyone cheers their loudest. Minnesota with multiple false starts, illegal snaps, procedure calls against their offense. Every flag just entices the crowd to go next level. It's the perfect elixir for what ails the Nittany Lions after the Michigan setback. A rabid crowd breathes life and energy back into the boys in blue on the field at Beaver Stadium.
I just want to say thank you to the fans so much because I don't know if a lot of people knew, but Minnesota was ranked #1 in the nation for lowest amount of penalties, and our fans got them off sides or false start 5 times. So that's awesome. Come back next week.
I soaked up every moment. I took a walk out to the field, before I even got dressed, and I just took it all in, being that this is my last one.
And you hear guys now in the NFL say the whiteout is still the greatest atmosphere they've ever experienced. Let's get to our opening drive. From one extreme to the other for starting quarterback Sean Clifford on the night. Emphasis on the starting because that's not going to change for Coach Franklin, Jay.
No, it shouldn't. And, really, if you're a fan, unless you're at practice, what have you seen from the second guy that would lead you to think he's going to do better than the first guy? So, until further notice, Sean's done a great job when he's had to.
4 touchdown passes, utilize the tight ends. Talk about Sean Clifford's effort.
That's not a bad day, 4 touchdown passes. That's pretty good effort. And I think he's going to continue it this week. I think he's got this thing turned a little bit, and he's going to go on a roll.
Clifford ties a career high with the 4 touchdown passes, and afterwards was somewhat tight-lipped about the mega matchup with the Buckeyes.
We're going to come in and, we're going to work hard throughout the week, and we're going to be prepared and confident. I can definitely say that.
Clifford earns the Big Ten Offensive Player of the Week honors. He's now the career completions leader at PSU.
Well, I think one thing Saturday night that really came through was they started out slowly, got the tight ends involved, created mismatches with Minnesota's defense, and they were able to get those guys involved in the game. One
of the things as a defensive coordinator, I hate those tight ends because they can do a lot of damage that, just not from, people think they're the blocking. But, boy, they can get you into some real mismatches with your linebackers and some of your nickelbacks.
Especially with this group because it's not just one of them. You got Tyler Warren that scored a touchdown. Theo Johnson scored a touchdown. And, of course, we know about Brenton Strange. A lot of people happy to see so much production from the tight ends.
I think as a tight end, there's a lot of different ways you can impact a game. Sometimes it's going to be in the pass game, which is probably more noticeable. But, as a group, we'd love to catch 20 passes a game, or we'll be fine run blocking the whole game. I think as long as we come out with wins like this, we're going to be happy either way.
Warren, Johnson, and Strange are all versatile guys that can block or catch. And we're not going to spend as much time on this aspect of the game, but it's still very important because the defense makes the Golden Gophers one-dimensional.
They sure did. One of the things is they made the run game the only way they were going to move the ball, and because you have your backup quarterbacks playing, that's even the best scenario going.
Yeah, Tanner Morgan was, not sure about it, Jay, and he wasn't there, and that really showed.
Well, no question. I think Minnesota early on played a little bit too tight, tried to do too much at the line of scrimmage with all the noise, got the penalties, got behind, and that was a problem for him.
Yeah. All right. Well, the suspense is palpable. Let's find out who wins our scrap medal. Tom, we've already made reference to the tight ends, but one of them specifically really has a standout performance.
Yeah, Theo Johnson, to me, was the guy that wins the award this week. 5 catches, 75 yards. Coming into the game, only 2 catches for 19. Big game. They're utilizing those tight ends, not only as blockers now, but in the pass game, which is going to open up a lot of things on the outside.
Perfect timing, Jay, because now the Buckeyes have to think about Theo Johnson along with Tyler Warren and Brenton Strange.
No question. I think one of the biggest things for Ohio State, and we'll talk about it in the scouting report, is how they match up outside. They're not as strong at corner. And so they're going to have to help on those tight ends, which will give Penn State's wideouts maybe some one-on-one opportunities outside.
Yeah, and for Theo Johnson, he was ready to make an impact against Minnesota.
We've always been kind of a focal point of the game plan, whether it's in the pass game or the run game. And we knew that we were going to have some big opportunities today, and when they came, we took advantage of them.
Yeah, great to see big number 84 have a breakout performance. Still to come, our scouting report. Our coaches break down what Penn State needs to do to beat the big, bad Buckeyes, why tackling is one of the keys to pulling off a huge upset. More Nittany Game Week after this.
Scrap Metal is sponsored by the We Are Inn, voted #1 game day restaurant in Centre County. Follow us on Facebook and visit theweareinn.com or call for dinner or room reservations.
We are back on Nittany Game Week, and we talk about college football on the program. Let me see if I can make an appropriate comparison for studying Ohio State. While everyone else seems to work on their undergrad degrees, the Buckeyes are at the PhD level. Coach Paterno and Coach Bradley, this Ohio State team is not defending a Big Ten championship, which makes this task even harder. They're supremely talented and hungry to reclaim the top spot on the conference.
Well, Ryan Day is 24-1 in the Big Ten as a head coach. That's a pretty good grade. I think I got 24 out of 25 a couple of times in college. But, so what makes these guys...
Are you exaggerating again?
I said a couple. I didn't say many. Okay, but let's talk about what makes these Ohio State Buckeyes special on offense. Tackling is going to matter for Penn State this weekend. The amount of yards after catch, 41.9% of the pass game of their 3 starting wideouts and tight ends are after the catch. You've got to get them to the ground, and we'll talk about it right away, Tom. They've got 3 big-time wideouts. Jackson Smith and Jigba has not really played. He's supposed to be full go this week, but either way, you got 3 wideouts. Where are you putting your best corner? And that really dictates what you do, right?
You're going to have to bring some corners over. You made a great point. It's not only one-on-one tackling. It's get to the football. Yep. Everybody get to the football.
And so watch for the matchups. Take a look here. Here's a throw that even in my advanced age, I can still make out to the flat. The 5-yard throw becomes a 22-yard explosive play, and that cannot happen on Saturday night, or it's going to be a long night. So let's take a look now at some other things. The run game, again, they're also going to give you some fullback tight end combinations with 2 wide receivers, which is good because there aren't 3 on the field. But now they're going to, if they're patient, they'll run the ball at you. Here's a short side zone with an unbalanced, Tom.
Exactly, a short side zone with unbalanced. You hit it right there, and right here is where they're going to hit it. Not many people are going to do that. The motion causes problems. Now you have all the adjustments, and they've got angle blocks.
And again, got to make the tackle. Again, going on the next slide, same kind of look here. Fullback tight end here, 2 wideouts. Now, hard run fake, guard pulling. What's that do to your linebackers, Tom?
Yeah, they got to get their eyes in their proper place, good eye discipline, and get moving quickly.
And you'll see on the video what happens. Linebackers come up, blitz off the edge, and now you've got 2 big-time wideouts out there. Again, makes the catch, yards after the catch in the end zone. Great shot of this tight here. You see he comes off that break. He's expecting some inside help. Now there's 2 or 3 Michigan State guys in position to make the tackle. They can't do it, and that's going to be a problem. And now, when you're dealt with the run game, play action game, and the wideouts, the thing that's different for Ohio State this year is the tight end is a real factor. Last year, Penn State did a great job in the red zone, but now they got to worry about the tight end there, Tom. How frustrating can that be?
Well, we just talked about how Penn State's using the tight end more. This guy creates the opportunity for all these guys out here.
Yeah, and they were very patient getting the ball. The Wisconsin game, he had a big day, got some catches downfield as well. So if you spend too much time on that, then you're going to have some problems with the tight end, and they've shown that ability. So let's take a look at the other side of the ball now. Ohio State, much improved on defense, a top 10 defense this year. Again, They've changed their front. So now they're going to be essentially, when you've got your 2 tight end, 2 wide receivers set to Penn State likes, there's essentially 8.5 guys around the ball, and you're going to have to block that strong safety.
And he's a football player, and that's one of the things that's going to happen. If you do not block that guy and get in front of him, he is going to have a nice day for them.
So you got to play action pass. And let's go to the next one now. When you get into it, again, a lot of variables in here. They can do some great things here because they've got speed. Eichenberg's played a lot of football. Hickman's played a lot of football. Ransom. And watch on this one how deep Ransom gets from 7 yards deep and where he ends up with his ball. Shows a 2-deep look, turns around, and gets way behind the secondary. And that quarterback thinks he's probably safe on that throw, and all of a sudden he's there.
He is. They're playing what it's called double the stars. They're picking the 2 best guys to cover. These guys are helping over the top with the stars who they think they're leaving him one-on-one on the backside.
Okay, one last slide now before we go. Again, you got to win the outside matchups. We think this is probably where Ohio State's the most vulnerable defense. They can help on the inside guy, help on the tight ends. If Penn State's wideouts can win on the outside, then they'll have a chance to get the tight ends freed up and get the run game going. But if that doesn't happen, you can't afford to see this happen much with
No,
sacks.
you do not want to be in negative yardage. You want to keep the chains moving appropriately.
And the guy who is never negative and never has negative yardage, Todd, back over to you.
I like to see the silver lining and stuff, guys. Thank you very much. Now, of course, the Buckeyes have won 9 of the last 10 games against the Nittany Lions. Wouldn't exactly say they've dominated the actual games. Penn State has competed with Ohio State about as tough as anyone in the conference in recent years.
You know, we knew when we see the schedule going into State College is going to be a huge challenge, always is. So, you know, our guys understand what a challenge this is going to be, and so we got to have a great week of preparation. And yeah, this is part of that competitive excellence, you know, and competitive stamina. Bringing it every single week and going on the road and winning a game like this is going to be huge.
Now, the Buckeyes are the second-ranked team in the nation, 15-point favorites on the road against the 13th-ranked Nittany Lions. Nothing short of a Herculean effort and highly elevated execution will accomplish an upset for Penn State. Can't wait to see how it plays out. Time to take a break. When we come back, our Impact interview with Fox Sports lead play-by-play man Gus Johnson. We play the nickname game with Gus and find out what he's looking forward to for his first trip to Happy Valley with the Big Noon Kickoff team. Nittany Game Week returns after this.
Impact Interview is sponsored by the Pocono Mountains, where small-town charm meets big adventures. Book your trip today by visiting PoconoMountains.com.
Well, welcome back. Time for our Impact interview. One word for our guest this week, and that is legend. Gus Johnson will be calling this weekend's game for Fox Sports, and this marks Big Noon Saturday's first game at Penn State. Gus has called everything from Premier League and World Cup soccer to March Madness to the NFL and college football on Fox. And I really like being able to say, welcome back to Nittany Game Week, Gus. Thanks so much. We really enjoyed your visit last year. Thanks so much for joining us again.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm looking forward to this interview. Always nice to be with you guys, hanging out. And then I am certainly looking forward to getting to Happy Valley. It's been long time since I've been to Happy Valley, and I can't wait to hear that cougar go, wow, 700 times during the game.
Well, no better stage than to have it against Ohio State, 13-2. And look, as Fox has made the move to show the big games at high noon, and that calls to mind the days when Keith Jackson, Bob Greasy, and Lynn Swann did the biggest games in the early window. You knew it was a big deal when Keith came to town with the crew. Same goes for the Big Noon crew now. So how does it feel to see that kind of impact you make on the atmosphere and experience of a game when the entire crew comes to town, Gus?
I think it's just a lot of fun. I mean, I remember watching Keith Jackson when I was a kid, and when he was in town, it was a big deal. And I mean, we have such a great cast of characters with Coach Meyer, who's won 3 national championships, Reggie Bush, who arguably is the greatest running back, maybe the greatest player in the history of college football, Brady Quinn, who's a Notre Dame guy who's so knowledgeable and the first-round draft pick in the NFL, and Matt Leinart, Heisman Trophy winner. And Rob Stone is an expert who can do any sport. And then there's Joel, Jenny, and myself having an opportunity to come in town and bring our energy and our style of covering games to Happy Valley. I mean, it's just fun. It's just been a fun year already. It's been a fun career for me. So I'm looking forward to getting up there and watching Ohio State and the Nittany Lions.
So this is, as we mentioned, Big Noon's first foray into the land of Nittany Lions. So when you put on that headset and you introduced Jenny and Joel to start the broadcast, what about doing a game at Penn State excites you or intrigues you the most this Saturday?
Well, you know, I'm getting old. That's one thing I do know. And I used to call games at Penn State all the time when I was at CBS. I was with Mike Mayock.
Yep.
And to be honest with you, I want to say, the last time I called a Penn State game, I believe Kerry Collins was the quarterback.
Wow.
It's going
This is
back.
before they went into the Big Ten.
94.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
Gus, Tom Bradley
I want to
here.
say right around that time. Hey, Tommy.
Hey, Gus, good to see you, my friend. Hey, Gus, you still like you could still play quarterback for Detroit Jesuits?
You remember, Tom, because I came. Yo, Tom, you remember because me and Mike Mayock came and saw you.
That's
And we
exactly right.
visited with you. So who was the quarterback then?
That
Was
back,
Kerry Collins back then?
I think it was Kerry.
Yeah, it was Kerry back then. But you look like you could still be playing quarterback for Detroit Jesuit back in the day. I'm giving you some
I'm not
compliments
married.
now. Hey, Gus.
I'm not married.
Hey, you've seen the Buckeyes a few times this year. For the Penn State fans that maybe have not seen them yet, what are a few things they should be looking for from this Buckeye team?
Well, I'm going to say it on a Penn State side. What can you take advantage of? I think their DBs might be shaky with a team that can really throw the football. I don't believe in their defense because they really haven't played anybody. But I think the defense is improved. So, on the positive side for Ohio State, I think they're the best team in America. I think they're the best. I think they could beat Alabama. I think they could beat Georgia with what they have. And I think C.J. Stroud is brilliant. So that's kind of what I see with Ohio State.
So, Gus, a lot of talk in the offseason about the new TV deals that were coming, and for the foreseeable future, Fox Sports, a Big Ten broadcast partner. So how excited are you guys to expand that connection in the new deals that come into effect next year? And USC, UCLA coming your way. You're not going to have to travel as far for a couple of those games.
Well, you know what? I tell you, there's an old saying, put your money where your mouth is, and I think that's what we did at Fox. We went out and secured the Big Ten, and excuse me, and thankfully we got USC and UCLA, which is incredible. I just think it's a wonderful time for college football. I love all the changes that are taking place. I love NIL. I love the transfer portal. I love conference realignment. I think it was time to shake some things up, and they have done that. I love the fact that players are getting paid now, which they should have all along. You know, coaches get paid, programs get paid, administrators get paid, ADs get paid. So it's time for the men and women that are out there actually doing the work and playing the game to get paid too. So I'm happy to see, especially considering that when it comes to football and basketball, a large majority of the people are going to be African-American men and women. So nice first job going into college, which I think is wonderful. I mean, it's incredible. And it's going to be a learning process for these kids, you know, but at the same time, it's nice to, you know, the NCAA or college sports is going to keep their hands full with some money in their pocket. So I love what's going on all across the board with what's going on in college ball.
Thrilled to have Gus Johnson with us this week, and you know we're taking advantage of the opportunity to speak with him at length. We're going to step aside for the TV show to take a break. We will continue our interview, so if you want to see the entire conversation with Fox Sports lead play-by-play man Gus Johnson, make sure you go to NittanyGameWeek.com for the rest of the interview along with other web-exclusive content. Still to come, big night at Beaver Stadium. In addition to the whiteout, was also homecoming. We'll talk about some of the unforgettable Nittany Lions honored during the game. We're heading into the final minutes on Nittany Game Week. Yeah, the White House also homecoming this season allows for some really good guests to return to their alma mater. That includes Trace McSorley during his bye week for the Arizona Cardinals. The Iron Lions, members of the 2012 Penn State team, are honored between the first and second quarter. And then even the former Nittany Lions all come together to pump up the crowd at Beaver Stadium. All right, so homecoming. It's pretty cool with whiteout. We've got, you don't normally go red with orange, but
no, I'm a Red Sox fan.
Week.
Let's just say that right now. But this was a Phillies jersey given to Joe Paterno on his 84th birthday
84.
in 2010 when the Phillies announced the signing of a 400-game winner.
That's right. To add to that ace staff.
A lefty, by the way.
That's right. To add to that ace staff that they had. A lefty, is that what you said?
Yeah, lefty.
Southpaw.
Yeah,
I love
southpaw,
it.
yeah.
All right. You could name the entire team.
It's the last red you're going to see me in for a while.
It looks good. You could name the entire team. Players to watch for Ohio State.
Certainly the big three at wide receiver, but the matchup I think fans want to look at is how does Ohio State's inside three offensive line do against Penn State's defensive line? I think that's a matchup Penn State can win.
Defensively, again, a lot of guys to look for, Tom.
Yeah, there sure is. They've got one of the things I think Penn State can make hay on is if they can run the football and shorten the game. Get Ohio State frustrated. Their offense isn't, going up and down the field. They're standing watching. Put some long drives together.
Might have an advantage inside a little bit defensively and outside offensively, hopefully. We'll see how it works out. All right, okay. Don't miss our depth chart at NittanyGameWeek.com, which includes these local businesses. The list continues to grow. We're building a team of businesses in the region that support the show and that you, in turn, can support as a viewer to keep our Penn State hometowns strong. And you can find the depth chart on our website. If you haven't noticed yet, we have a lot to share with you when it comes to college football. Doesn't all fit into this neat, tidy 30-minute window. Make sure to check out NittanyGameWeek.com for web-exclusive content. This is the big one, big noon kickoff, a chance for Penn State to take down the Buckeyes. We finish each week with your pride picks as you show off your spirit for the blue and white. For Jay and Tom, I'm Todd. Thanks so much for watching Nittany Game Week. We'll see you next time.